she texted. Stuck at mom's for dinner? Love you. But I was sitting 3 tables away at the same restaurant, watching her kiss someone else. I didn't make a scene. I just replied, enjoy dinner with your mom, and attached a photo of her table. Her phone dropping was audible. 34 male, have been with my wife for 9 years, married for 6. We have no kids. She always said she wasn't ready, and I respected that. Looking back, I guess she was keeping her options open. Last Thursday started normal. I'm in sales for a medical equipment company, and one of my biggest clients wanted to take me to dinner to celebrate closing a major deal. He picked this upscale Italian place, the kind with cloth napkins and prices that make your wallet sweat. I texted my wife around 4 p.m., letting her know I'd be late. Her response, perfect timing. Mom called, she's feeling lonely. Gonna have dinner with her tonight. Don't wait up. Love you. I didn't think anything of it. Her mom lives about 40 minutes away, and my wife visits her maybe twice a month. Seemed normal. Got to the restaurant around 7:15. My client was running late, so the hostess seated me at a corner booth to wait. I was scrolling through emails when I heard a familiar laugh. My wife has this distinctive laugh. Sort of a high-pitched thing that ends in a snort when something really gets her. I've heard it 1,000 times. Hearing it in that restaurant made me look up automatically. 3 tables away. There she was, not with her mother. She was with a guy I'd never seen before. Maybe mid-30s, gym bro type, wearing a blazer that was trying too hard. They were sharing a bottle of wine, and as I watched, she reached across the table and touched his face. Then she leaned in and kissed him. Not a peck. A real kiss. My brain short-circuited for about 10 seconds. I just sat there, frozen, watching my wife make out with some random dude in public while I was supposedly too stupid to know. The waiter came by asking if I wanted water. I must have nodded because suddenly there was a glass in front of me. My hands were shaking. I felt like I was going to throw up. But I didn't make a scene. I don't know why. Maybe shock. Maybe some survival instinct kicking in. Instead, I pulled out my phone, angled it carefully, and took a photo. Clear shot of both of them. Her hand on his cheek, mid-kiss. Timestamp and all. Then I opened our text thread and typed, enjoy dinner with your mom. Attached the photo. Hit send. The moment her phone buzzed, I watched her pull away from him and check it. Casual at first, probably expecting something mundane. Her phone hit the table. The sound was audible from where I was sitting. She went white, like genuinely pale, and her head snapped up, scanning the restaurant frantically. Our eyes met. I've never seen that expression on anyone's face before. Pure, undiluted panic mixed with something else. Guilt? Maybe. But mostly just the look of someone who got caught and had no exit strategy. I stood up, left a 20 on the table for the water I never drank, and walked out. Didn't look back, didn't say a word to her. Just left. My client called while I was in my car asking where I was. I told him something came up, family emergency, I'd reschedule. He was cool about it. I drove around for 2 hours. Couldn't go home, couldn't think. My phone was blowing up, calls, texts, voicemails, all from her. I didn't answer any of them. Around 10 p.m., I pulled into a hotel parking lot and got a room. Turned my phone off. Slept maybe 2 hours total. The next morning, I turned my phone back on to 38 missed calls and about 50 text messages. The highlights. It's not what it looks like. Please come home so we can talk. You're overreacting. He's just a friend from work. I can explain everything. Where are you? I'm worried sick. This is your fault for never being home. That last one. That one made something click in my brain. The shift from panic to blame took less than 12 hours. My fault, of course. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I called my buddy from college who's a divorce attorney in a different state, asked him for a referral to someone local. By 9 a.m. Friday morning, I had a consultation scheduled for Monday. Went home Friday afternoon while she was at work. Packed a bag with essentials, grabbed my important documents from the safe, passport, birth certificate, the deed to the house that's in my name from before we got married, and left again. Stayed at my brother's place. She must have had some kind of tracking thing going because she showed up at my brother's around 8 p.m. Update 1 week later. First off, thanks for all the support in the comments. This week has been rough, but I'm handling it. So she showed up at my brother's place that Friday night. Pounding on the door, crying, the whole performance. My brother answered because I was in the shower. Where is he? I need to talk to my husband. My brother, who's 2 years older than me and has exactly zero patience for drama, just looked at her. He doesn't want to talk to you. You can't keep him from me. This is ridiculous. It was one dinner. One dinner where you were kissing another guy while lying about being at your mom's. Yeah, I saw the photo. We all saw the photo. She tried to push past him. My brother's a big dude, played linebacker in college, and he just stood there like a wall. You need to leave. This is between me and my husband, and he doesn't want to see you. Leave before I call the cops. She left, but not before screaming that my brother was poisoning me against her, and that he never liked her anyway, which, fair, he didn't. He told me 3 years ago he thought she was off somehow. I didn't listen, should've. The weekend was a blur of blocked calls and texts from her number, her mom's number, her sister's number. I blocked them all. Monday morning, I walked into my attorney's office with that photo, my timeline of events, and a clear head. My attorney, sharp woman, been doing this for 20 years, looked at the photo and just nodded. Classic. They always think they're smarter than they are. Here's where things get complicated. The house is in my name, bought before the marriage, with inheritance money from my grandfather. My attorney says that's clearly separate property in our state. But we renovated the kitchen 2 years ago, using funds from our joint checking account, which she could argue gives her some claim to the increased value. Maybe $20 to $30 worth of headache. My 401k accumulated during the marriage, that gets split, about $180 in there right now. So I'm looking at losing around $90k minimum just from that. Hurts like hell, but it's the law. Her retirement account, about $45k. I get half of what accumulated during marriage, so roughly $22k back my way. Still a net loss, but whatever. No kids means no custody battle. Small mercies. I filed for divorce on Tuesday. She was served Wednesday at her office. According to my attorney, she made a scene. Apparently started crying and had to be escorted to a conference room by HR. Part of me felt bad about that. The other part remembered her text saying this was my fault. Wednesday night, she showed up at the house. Our house. Well, my house now, I guess. I'd gone back there Tuesday after filing, figured I might as well sleep in my own bed. Changed the locks first thing. Her key didn't work. The confusion on her face through the doorbell camera was something else. She started banging on the door. Let me in. This is my home too. I opened the door but kept the chain on. It's not. The deed is in my name. My attorney advised me to secure my property. Your property? I've lived here for 6 years. You can't just lock me out. Actually, I can. You moved out Friday when you chose to stay at your mom's instead of here. Remember? The same mom you were definitely having dinner with last Thursday? Her face went red. That's not fair. Neither is lying to your husband while you make out with some other guy at a restaurant. But here we are. I want my stuff. Schedule a time with my attorney. She'll arrange a supervised pickup. Supervised? Are you kidding me? You tried to force your way into my brother's house? I'm not letting you in here unsupervised. She stood there for a second, and I could see the calculation happening. The tears had dried up real quick once she realized they weren't working. You're making a huge mistake. I'll take you for everything. You can try. I closed the door. She stood outside for another 15 minutes before leaving. Thursday, I got a call from her mother. Now, her mother has never liked me. From day one, she thought her daughter was settling. Too good for a sales guy, apparently. Should have married a doctor or a lawyer. Standard stuff. You need to stop this foolishness right now, she started. No hello, no nothing. Excuse me? This divorce nonsense. My daughter made a mistake. You need to forgive her and move on. A mistake is forgetting to pay a bill. Your daughter has been having an affair. She told me it was one dinner. One moment of weakness because you're never home. Even if that were true, which it's not because people don't French kiss friends from work at fancy restaurants, that's not an excuse for lying and cheating. You men are all the same. Can't handle a woman having her own life. Her own life can include not being married to me, hence the divorce. You'll regret this. She's the best thing that ever happened to you. She was kissing another man 3 tables away from me while telling me she was with you. If that's the best thing that happened to me, I need better things. She hung up on me. But here's where it gets interesting. That friend from work she was with? My attorney suggested I might want to know who he is in case it's relevant to the proceedings. So I did some digging. Wasn't hard. She had posted photos with him on Instagram before, just always with groups of people. Tagged him in a few. Turns out he's married too. Found that out through some creative LinkedIn stalking and a quick check of public records. Married for 4 years, 2 young kids. His wife has no idea, or didn't, until I sent her an anonymous email with the restaurant photo attached and a simple note. Thought you should know. Check his Thursday nights. Petty? Maybe. But if I was going to burn, that guy was going to burn with me. He knew she was married. He didn't care. Now his wife knows too. Update 2. 3 weeks later. Things have gotten messy. Not gonna lie, I underestimated how far she'd go. First, the affair partner situation. His wife got my email. She did not take it well. From what I've pieced together through the absolute explosion of drama that followed, she confronted him. He denied everything. She found more evidence on his phone. Turns out my wife wasn't his first rodeo, and she filed for divorce within a week. He's now blaming my wife for ruining his marriage. My wife is furious because he was supposed to leave his wife for her. Wait, what? Yeah. Turns out this wasn't just some random fling. They'd been seeing each other for almost 8 months. 8 months of lies. 8 months of working late and dinner with mom and girls' nights that were actually hotel rooms with this guy. My attorney subpoenaed phone records. The texts between them were illuminating. Not just affair stuff. Financial stuff. She was planning to take him for everything in the divorce, and then they'd be together once she had her fair share. My favorite text from her to him: he's so clueless. By the time I'm done, I'll have the house, half his retirement, and alimony for years. Then we can finally be together for real. My attorney's face when she showed me those. Well, that makes things easier. See, in our state, adultery doesn't automatically affect asset division. But evidence of financial plotting, of intentionally trying to defraud a spouse, that gets judges' attention. My attorney filed a motion with those texts attached. But my wife wasn't done fighting dirty. Week 2, I got a call from my HR department. Someone had filed an anonymous complaint alleging I had been aggressive and threatening toward a female colleague. Completely fabricated. I work remotely 3 days a week and barely interact with anyone in person. HR did an investigation, found nothing, dismissed it. But it was stressful, and I know exactly who was behind it. Week 2, day 5, a police officer showed up at my door. My wife had filed a report claiming I was stalking and harassing her. When the officer heard my side, that she was the one showing up at my door, my brother's door, my workplace parking lot, he seemed skeptical of her claims. I showed him the doorbell footage of her banging on my door for 15 minutes. He took notes, said he'd follow up with her, and left. No charges, no nothing. But my heart was pounding for hours after. Week 3, she hired a new attorney. Her first one apparently wasn't aggressive enough. The new guy immediately filed for temporary spousal support, claiming she was financially dependent on me and couldn't survive without assistance. Let me be clear. My wife makes $75,000 a year as a marketing coordinator. She has her own car, paid off. She has $45 in retirement. She's currently living with her mother, rent-free. She is not financially dependent on anyone. My attorney responded with her pay stubs, her account statements, and a reminder that she chose to leave the marital home. The judge denied temporary support but scheduled a hearing for permanent arrangements. Then came the family assault. Not physical, emotional. Her mother started calling everyone in my family, my mom, my brother, even my aunt who she'd met maybe twice. Same story to everyone. I was overreacting, I was vindictive, I had driven her to this by being a workaholic who neglected his wife. My mom, bless her heart, told her mother-in-law exactly where she could stick that narrative. Apparently used language I didn't know she knew. Her sister reached out to my brother trying to get information about what I was planning. My brother told her to lose his number. Her dad, who I'd actually always gotten along with, called me directly. First reasonable conversation I'd had with anyone from her side. Son, I'm not calling to yell at you. I just want to understand what happened. So I told him everything. The restaurant, the photo, the texts my attorney found. The plot to take me for everything. Long silence. Then, I didn't know about any of that. She told us you'd been emotionally distant and she'd had one dinner with a coworker that you blew out of proportion. Does that sound like something worth filing for divorce over? No. No, it doesn't. Heavy sigh. I'll talk to her mother. I can't promise it'll help, but I'm sorry. I raised her better than this. Or I thought I did. That conversation hit different. I almost felt bad for him. His daughter turned out to be someone he didn't recognize either. But feeling bad doesn't pay legal fees, and hers were apparently adding up because week 3, day 6, she texted me directly. First contact in almost 3 weeks. Can we just talk without lawyers? We're wasting so much money fighting. I didn't respond. Showed it to my attorney. She advised me to continue no contact. Then came the voicemail that same night. She'd clearly been drinking. You think you're so smart. You think you won. But you don't know everything. You don't know what I know. You're gonna regret this. I have stuff, evidence, of things you did. So you better think real hard about how you want this to go. My attorney listened to that one too. What things did you do? Nothing. I have no idea what she's talking about. Then it's an empty threat. Desperate people say desperate things. But it got me thinking. What could she possibly have? I went through our years together in my mind. Nothing illegal, nothing even questionable. I pay my taxes, I don't cheat at cards, I've never so much as gotten a speeding ticket. Then I realized, she had nothing. She was bluffing, trying to scare me into settling. That's when I decided to stop playing defense. Update 3, final, 6 weeks later. The divorce is final. It took about 5 months total from filing to decree, which my attorney said was actually pretty fast for a contested divorce. Here's how it all went down. Her evidence she was threatening me with turned out to be screenshots of text arguments we'd had over the years. Stuff like me saying, I'm exhausted and don't want to talk about this right now, or can we discuss this later? I'm in a meeting. Her attorney tried to frame these as emotional abuse and stonewalling. The judge looked at them, looked at her attorney, and basically said, these are normal marital disagreements. Nothing here constitutes abuse. Her attorney then pivoted to claiming I had hidden assets, demanded full financial discovery. Fine by me, I had nothing to hide. My finances are boring. Salary, 401k, savings account, that's it. 3 weeks of forensic accounting later, they found exactly what I told them they'd find. Nothing. Meanwhile, those texts between her and her affair partner, those stayed in the record. The judge read them. All of them. Including the one where she called me a meal ticket and said she'd earned every penny of what she was going to take from me. The judge's face during that reading. I wish I had a photo. Here's the final breakdown. The house, mine, fully. The judge agreed it was separate property purchased before the marriage with inherited funds. Her attorney argued about the kitchen renovation, tried to claim she was entitled to half the increased home value. The judge awarded her $12,000 for her contribution to the renovation. That's it. She wanted $150,000. She got $12,000. Retirement accounts, split down the middle for the portions accumulated during marriage. I lost about $87,000 from my 401k, got back about $21,000 from hers. Net loss of $66,000. It hurts, but it's the law. I accepted it. Spousal support. This was the big fight. Her attorney wanted $3,500 a month for 5 years. That's $210,000 total. My attorney countered with evidence of her salary, her savings, her rent-free living situation, and crucially, her texts about planning to financially exploit me. The judge awarded her 18 months of rehabilitative alimony at $1,100 a month. Total, about $20,000, less than 10% of what she wanted. She actually gasped when the number was read. Her affair partner. Karma came through on this one. His wife took him to the cleaners. Because he was the higher earner and she had primary custody of their kids, he got destroyed. Lost the house, paying significant child support plus alimony, moved back in with his parents at 36 years old. My wife was apparently devastated that he could no longer afford to be with her. They broke up 2 weeks before my divorce was finalized. She tried to use that as evidence that she'd learned her lesson and deserved a better settlement. The judge wasn't impressed. The final hearing was something else. She showed up looking rough, clearly hadn't been sleeping, lost weight, the whole thing. Part of me felt a twinge of something. Not sympathy, exactly. More like recognizing that this was someone I'd spent 9 years with, and now she was a stranger. She tried one last appeal directly to me as we were leaving the courthouse. Her attorney had stepped away, mine was on the phone, and she cornered me by the elevators. Was it worth it? Destroying everything we built? I looked at her. Really looked at her. Tried to see the woman I'd married somewhere in there. You destroyed it. I just documented the wreckage. I made one mistake. You planned to take everything I had while sleeping with a married man for 8 months. That's not a mistake. That's a campaign. He manipulated me. I was vulnerable because you were never there. I was 3 tables away. You just didn't bother to look. The elevator dinged. I got on. She didn't. That was 2 weeks ago. I'm still in the house. It feels bigger now. Quieter. I've been repainting the bedroom. Couldn't sleep in there anymore with the old colors. Something about starting fresh. Financially, I'm down about $100,000 when you factor in attorney fees on top of everything else. That's a big hit. But I'm 34. I make decent money. I'll recover. The alternative was staying married to someone who saw me as a bank account with legs. Her situation is less rosy. From what I've heard through the grapevine, my brother's girlfriend knows someone who knows her sister. She's still at her mom's. The apartment she was looking at fell through. Apparently her credit isn't as good as she thought it was, without my income backing her up. Her affair partner blocked her on everything after his divorce finalized. She's been calling him a coward to anyone who'll listen. Her family has split on the issue. Her dad hasn't spoken to her since he found out about the texts. Her mom blames me entirely and has apparently forbidden anyone from saying my name in her house. Her sister falls somewhere in the middle, thinks my wife made mistakes, but also that I could have tried harder to work things out. Work things out with someone who was planning to financially devastate me while sleeping with another man. Sure, trust your gut. Looking back, there were signs. The late nights that started gradually, the new gym membership she never invited me to, the phone that was suddenly always face down, the defensive reactions when I asked simple questions. I explained all of it away because I trusted her, because I loved her, because I couldn't imagine she'd do something like this. People are capable of anything. The person you married and the person they become aren't always the same. And sometimes the mask doesn't slip until you're accidentally sitting 3 tables away at the wrong restaurant at the right time. Document everything. That photo I took wasn't revenge. It was protection. Without it, she could have spun any story she wanted. With it, her narrative fell apart instantly. Get a good lawyer. Worth every penny. Mine saw angles I never would have thought of and kept me from making emotional decisions that would have cost me more in the long run. Don't engage. Every time I ignored her texts, blocked her calls, or refused to argue, her behavior got more erratic. She was used to being able to manipulate through emotion. When that didn't work, she had nothing. I'm not going to pretend I'm healed or whatever. Some nights I still wake up at 3 a.m. and reach for someone who isn't there anymore. Some days I see something that reminds me of a good memory, and then I remember it was all built on a lie. That messes with you. But I'm moving forward. What choice is there? She texted me yesterday from a new number. I guess she figured out I'd blocked her old one. I hope you're happy. You ruined my life. I read it, thought about it for a minute, then blocked that number too. She ruined her own life. I just refused to let her ruin mine too. That restaurant photo is still in my phone. Probably should delete it, but sometimes I look at it and remind myself, this is why I trust my instincts now. This is why I don't ignore red flags. This is what too good to be true actually looks like. The waiter at that Italian place, the one who brought me water while my world was falling apart, he probably has no idea he witnessed the beginning of the end of my marriage. Just another Thursday night for him. Funny how the biggest moments of your life can be completely invisible to everyone around you. And anyway, that's the story. 9 years, 6 of them married, ended by a text message, a photo, and the sound of a phone hitting a table. Time to figure out what comes next.